Mr. Celis has already violated two provisions of Section 11. The first one, acting in a disrespectful manner, and the second one, which is very more important rather, is his refusal to answer the question in a relevant inquiry. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to contempt, to cite for contempt Mr. Celis for on these two grounds under Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second the motion.
There's a motion, duly seconded. Any objections from any member
Mr. Chairman.
of this committee? There being no objections, on a unanimous vote, the Eric is cited for
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
ask the Sergeant of Arms to please
Mr. Chairman,
take on
Mr. Chair,
Eric.
Mr. Chair,
Kasamang abogado na yun.
may I answer?
Opo.
That's why I am requesting since last hearing that I may be given the counsel. Now,
Alam po
I will
ninyo,
hire,
alam niyo, if you keep going back last year, ang tanong ko na yun.
Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Soplico as my personal choice
Okay.
to do
So,
legal counsel.
everything that you say now is guided by your lawyer, who's also here.
Not yet, sir, because they are not, Mr. Chairman, permitted and granted authority to be recognized as my legal counsel. That's why I'm requesting. I'm hiring today, this afternoon, Attorney Mark Tolentino and Attorney Rolex Soplico.
Are the lawyers accepting that mandate? Because you remember, in the last hearing, you manifested that you are not representing Eric and the anchors because of the disclaimer issue. Are you accepting?
I'm accepting, Your Honor.
Attorney Rolex Suplico.
I am accepting you.
Okay, so thank you very much. So everything that will be said, no Eric, may abogado na po kayo? Yes or no?
May I request again,
Yes.
Congressman Honorable J.G. Suarez to rephrase the
Mr. Chair.
question, please.
Now with the presence of your lawyer, it's just a little bit ironic that in the past few days you've been on air talking about the hearing, talking about your opinions on about the hearing, and together with Attorney Mark Tolentino, I think there was a few episodes na magkasama pa kayong dalawa. So you're very vocal and you're very opinionated about your position. And last hearing, I just want to remind you, you apologized to the committee because the statements that you issued in your show, kasama ang bayan, tama po ba yun?
Yes, Your
Laban
Honor.
kasama ang bayan. Humingi ka man ng paumanhin dahil yung sinabi mong 1.8 billion ay walang katotohanan. Tinamin nyo yun. Ngayon, sinabi mo, ang source mo ay galing sa Kongreso. Sinabi ko mula sa House of Representatives, ang sabi nyo po ay hindi po House. Dalawa po yung House, Congress at Senate. Sinabi nyo, kinonfirm nyo na lalaki na taga-Senado. Ngayon po, naglabas na po ng statement, mismong Senate President na ang nagsasabi. Hindi na ito nanggagaling sa amin, although I am pressing hard that I want you to reveal that source because we want to find out the truth. Mr. Celis, the truth, and nothing is more important than the truth. So I'm asking you nicely, who is your source?
May I qualify, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to speak?
Yes, but before that, I'd like to remind you and the lawyers that under Section 13, the participation of counsel in this hearing for the witness during the hearing and while the witness is testifying shall be limited to advising the legal rights of the witness. Is that clear, Attorney Tolentino and Attorney Suplico?
Yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
that will only limited to that. Wala ho tayong coaching dito, ha? Yes, Eric.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the recognition.
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Suarez, sir.
Please answer straight directly, ha? Wala ho tayong ligoy na sagot ko dito.
Mr. Chair. Can I say something?
Okay.
Can I say something
Yes.
before you proceed?
Point of order.
Yeah. No,
Go ahead.
no.
Please.
Just want to be enlightened. What is your decision regarding the prior motion made by Congressman Paduano on
Well,
There's a
was
motion,
a
there's a
point of
motion.
order.
no?
He only made the point of order. So he was declaring him out
Thank
of
you,
order.
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Yes, proceed. Yes or no?
Yeah, thank you po, Mr. Chairman.
Please answer directly, ha? Huwag mo tayo masyadong
I
lumayo.
will not answer it because I am protected by law as per advice in conference with my lawyers here. I am protected by the SOTO law. Unless the SOTO law is repealed, I will be under the protection of the SOTO law. Republic Act number 53.
Mr. Chair. Okay.
And the previous statements made, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, please, were made without the competent advice of legal counsel. That's why I was requesting humbly for this honorable committee chaired by Congressman Tambunting that all those testimonies regarding the testimonies I made here can be stricken off the record if it may be considered as a request. Because those are inadmissible.
Tanong po, kala nyo, lagi nyo sinasabi yung SOTO law eh. Ano pong portion ng SOTO law ang tinutukoy nyo? Anong particular provision sa SOTO law? Okay, basa po.
I will, Mr. Chairman, I will request my counsel to give me the particular provision or they may be allowed to reference the particular
No, we
provision.
are requesting you.
I don't have the copy of the SOTO.
Then I will suggest that the council give him a
Yeah.
copy of the SOTO law. Because we do not, you're only supposed to, like I said earlier, hindi ho kayo pwede magsalta. Yan magsalta ay si Ka Eric.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to read?
Ang una po sinabi nyo, accredited journalist. Kayo ba'y accredited journalist? Ka Eric, kayo po ang tinatanong po. Kayo po ba'y accredited journalist?
The accreditation or the license to practice journalism does not require any particular organization or government entity to give us license or accreditation for broadcast. If you are referring, Mr. Chairman, to KBP, membership to KBP is voluntary. KBP is not an absolute regulatory power for broadcast.
So ano
We are like an NGO and private
ano
organization.
pong basihan nyo, basihan ng provision na yan, nung sinabi niya kailangan accredited, kayo nag-cite ng batas. Kayo nag-cite ng prohibition.
Mr. Chairman,
Accredited journalist, hindi ho kayo, sino dapat mag-accredit sa inyo?
SMNI is an accredited and franchise-granted media. And therefore, the prerogative in the decision for editorial decision who can broadcast or cannot broadcast in their station rests with the franchise granted to them. Therefore, hindi po kami required na maghingi ng pahintulot sa gobyerno na mag-broadcast kami doon. Dahil kami po ay bahagi ng isang media organization na may legitimate existence as granted by franchise.
Yes, but remember, may disclaimer. Ang sabi ng SMNI, hindi po nila pananagutan ang gagawin nyo. At hindi na nga raw kayo empleyado, sabi nila. So, ergo, hindi ho namin agad-agad kaya tanggapin yung inyong mungkahi. Pangalawa, I would like to remind you that this is a house inquiry which is provided for by the SOTO law. And third, katanungan ko, security of state, binanggit nyo. Ano po ibig nyo? Ito ba yung security of state? Tingin nyo itong issue to? Which is an exception?
Ang 1.8 billion na pagtatanong ko po, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, ay hindi po threat to national security. Kapag ito po'y tinatanong ng mga media practitioners at ng mamamayan patungkol sa tamang pangangalaga sa pundo ng bayan. And I believe Congress is not exempted from public transparency and accountability in the disposal of public funds.
Alam po ninyo,
It's not an issue
Mr. Chair, I
of
think I
national
still have
security.
the floor.
yes.
Yeah.
Huli ang katanungan. Alam po niyo yung security of state sa amin. Ito po yung sinabi nyo na empleyado ng Senado ang nagbigay. Sa amin, yan po ay seguridad ng ating institusyon, seguridad ng ating bayan. So kaya po, ito po ay hindi nyo po pwede i-cite ang SOTO law. Mabuti po, malaman nyo na po ang posisyon. At ito'y pinag-aralan po natin, may abogado po kayo, meron din po kami mga abogado dito, may mga researchers po kami. At ang SOTO law ay hindi po applicable dito sa sinasite nyo. Sa tatlong tinanong po, pare-pareho, hindi po pwede yan. The Honorable J.J.
Thank you very
Suarez,
much.
you are recognized.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So let's just go back to points that have already been established. Number one, the statement that you issued were false. You admitted it and you apologized for it last hearing. Number two, you mentioned that your source is from Senate. And Mr. Celis, the law that you have just stated that you sought to use to protect your right and not to reveal your source apparently has been ruled cannot be applied. So therefore, I'm asking you again, dahil may kinalaman na to, may mabigat po ang kinalaman ang repercussions nito. You're talking about interparliamentary relationships between the House of Representatives and between the Senate. And none other than the Senate President has already issued a statement about this. So I don't think you see the gravity of the statements that you have issued between both houses in Congress. Now, Mr. Celis, for the last time, please identify your source.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to answer?
Mr. Chair, this is the fourth time I asked Mr. Celis this question. And every time I asked him his question, ang laki ng introduction, wala pa rin yung sagot. Pwede po ba this time, pag pinagbigyan natin siya magsalita, sabihin niya na po yung pangalan?
Kasi kung mag-introduction lang kayo, tapos i-cite nyo na naman, dinisalaw ko na. Sinasabi ko na hindi namin kayang tanggapin yung SOTO for this particular issues. And we provided the basis for that too. Sa mga binigkas yung provision, doon ko mismo hinugot ho yung argumento namin. Ngayon, kung hindi ko yung sasagot, we will not allow you anymore. Kasi nagre-request si Congressman Suarez ng kasagutan, pangalan ang kailangan niya.
Mr. Chairman, may I be,
Magbibigay po kayo mo ng pangalan o hindi?
may request or the license to practice journalism does not require any particular organization or government entity to give us license or accreditation for broadcast. If you are referring, Mr. Chairman, to KBP, membership to KBP is voluntary. KBP is not an absolute regulatory power for broadcast.
So ano
We are like an NGO and private organization.
ano pong basihan nyo, basihan ng provision niyan, nung sinabi niya kailangan accredited, kayo nag-cite ng batas, kayo nag-cite ng prohibition.
Mr. Chairman,
Accredited journalist, hindi ho kayo, sino dapat mag-accredit sa inyo?
SMNI is an accredited and franchise-granted media. And therefore, the prerogative in the decision for editorial decision who can broadcast or cannot broadcast in their station rests with the franchise granted to them. Therefore, hindi po kami required na maghingi ng pahintulot sa gobyerno na mag-broadcast kami doon. Dahil kami po ay bahagi ng isang media organization na may legitimate existence as granted by franchise.
Yes, but remember, may disclaimer. Ang sabi ng SMNI, hindi po nila pananagutan ang gagawin nyo. At hindi na nga raw kayo empleyado, sabi nila. So, ergo, hindi ho namin agad-agad kaya tanggapin yung inyong mungkahi. Pangalawa, I would like to remind you that this is a house inquiry which is provided for by the SOTO law. And third, tatanungan ko, security of state, binanggit nyo. Ano po ibig nyo? Ito ba yung security of state? Tingin nyo itong issue to, which is an exception?
Ang 1.8 billion na pagtatanong ko po, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, ay hindi po threat to national security. Kapag ito po'y tinatanong ng mga media practitioners at ng mamamayan patungkol sa tamang pangangalaga sa pundo ng bayan. And I believe Congress is not exempted from public transparency and accountability in the disposal of public funds.
Alam po ninyo,
It's not an issue
Mr.
of
Chair, I think I
public
still have
security.
the floor.
yes.
Yes.
Huli ang katanungan. Alam po yung security of state sa amin. Ito po yung sinabi nyo na empleyado ng Senado ang nagbigay. Sa amin, yan po ay seguridad ng ating institusyon, seguridad ng ating bayan. So kaya po, ito po ay hindi nyo po pwede i-cite ang SOTO law. Mabuti po, malaman nyo na po ang posisyon. At ito'y pinag-aralan po natin, may abogado po kayo, meron din po kami mga abogado rito, may mga researchers po kami. At ang SOTO law ay hindi po applicable dito sa sinasite nyo. Sa tatlong tinanong ko, pare-pareho, hindi po pwede yan. The Honorable J.J.
Thank you very
Suarez,
much.
you are recognized.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So let's just go back to points that have already been established. Number one, the statement that you issued were false. You admitted it and you apologized for it last hearing. Number two, you mentioned that your source is from Senate. And Mr. Celis, the law that you have just stated that you sought to use to protect your right and not to reveal your source apparently has been ruled cannot be applied. So therefore, I'm asking you again, dahil may kinalaman na to, may mabigat po ang kinalaman, ang repercussions nito. You're talking about interparliamentary relationships between the House of Representatives and between the Senate. And none other than the Senate President has already issued a statement about this. So I don't think you see the gravity of the statements that you have issued between both houses in Congress. Now, Mr. Celis, for the last time, please identify your source.
Mr. Chairman, may I be allowed to answer?
Mr. Chair, this is the fourth time I asked Mr. Celis this question. And every time I asked him his question, ang laki ng introduction, wala pa rin yung sagot. Pwede po ba this time, pag pinagbigyan natin siya magsalita, sabihin niya na po yung pangalan?
Kasi kung mag-introduction lang kayo, tapos i-cite nyo na naman, dinisalaw ko na. Sinasabi ko na hindi namin kayang tanggapin yung SOTO for this particular issues. And we provided the basis for that too. Sa mga binigkas yung provision, doon ko mismo hinugot ko yung argumento namin. Ngayon, kung hindi ko yung sasagot, we will not allow you anymore. Kasi nagre-request na si Congressman Suarez ng kasagutan, pangalan ang kailangan niya.
Mr. Chairman, may I
Magbibigay po kayo mo ng pangalan o hindi?
may I request that I be allowed to confirm with my legal counsel, please?
Oh, they're right beside you. They can confirm.
May I request for at least a
Yes.
1-minute conference with them?
Please.
Because it will create a very dangerous and negative precedence on the protection of source provided by law. I will refuse you. Your Honor, with due
Salamat
respect.
po.
Mr.
Salamat
Chair,
po tayo. The Honorable Toby Chanco is still recognized for a follow-up question.
No, I just wanted to manifest that the reason that we're suggesting an executive session is to show na tayo naman, hindi naman tayo, na binibigyan natin siya ng pagkakataon na i-reveal. Kung talagang gusto niya pangalagaan, at least in executive session. But it seems ayaw niya pa rin po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, it is very clear that Mr. Celis does not want to answer the question to reveal the source, whether in this inquiry or in executive session. So therefore, Mr. Chair, under Section 11, the power to contempt, letter E, grounds for contempt is for a resource person refusal to answer any relevant inquiry. Actually, Mr. Chair, Mr. Celis has already violated two provisions of Section 11. The first one, acting in a disrespectful manner, and the second one, which is very more important rather, is his refusal to answer the question in a relevant inquiry. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to contempt, to cite for contempt Mr. Celis for on these two grounds under Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second the motion.
There's a motion, duly
Yes.
seconded. Any objections from any member
Mr. Chairman.
of this committee? There being no objections, on a
Mr. Chairman.
unanimous vote,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
Ka Eric is cited for
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Ask the Sergeant of Arms to please
Mr. Chairman.
take on.
Mr. Chair,
Ka Eric.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman.
can we request the Sergeant at Arms to practice his responsibility after the hearing? Because there's still other details that.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, point of order. The motion was for Mr. Celis to be cited in contempt. And I think there's supposed to be a second motion. Yes. No, the motion should be for him to be detained. Where? Because under our law, the contempt of the committee shall be deemed contempt of the House. The person cited in this section may, upon order of the committee, be detained in such place as the chairperson or acting chairperson may designate. In other words, we have to decide where to detain him and for how long, Mr. Chair. That's supposed to be the second motion.
Mr. Chair, I believe with regards to the duration, it will be up to this committee to decide, and of course, to Mr. Celis, kung kailan po niya sasagutin yung tanong natin, and then maybe we could lift the contempt. But as long as hindi pa niya sinasagot yung tanong natin, the contempt will remain.
Mr. Chairman, final statement before niyo po ako ikulong.
Mr. Chair, I move for
Can I have a
a
final statement, please? Before po ako magpapakulong, I request the committee.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In an earlier motion, Mr. Chair, we have already approved to cite for contempt Mr. Celis. On this note, Mr. Chair, I move to detain him in the premises of Congress as per our rules on Section 11. So move, Mr. Chair.
The motion.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the committee may be given 1 minute,
Chairman,
please.
in relation to the motion,
Oh.
can I have,
Because it is
Honor-
required.
the Honorable
two-thirds of the
Paduano.
vote.
The Honorable Paduano is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, ang ano lang, point of inquiry lang, kasi we are not allowed to have a detention for indefinite period of time. So we have to establish how long. And the lifting of such detention will depend on the members of this committee, of course, with the cooperation of the person in contempt. So we have to establish how long, because we are not allowed to detain indefinite based on so many jurisprudence, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Akop is recognized.
Yes, there's a decision by the Supreme Court that we cannot detain a person indefinitely. And therefore, may I move that we come up with a definite period for detention insofar as Mr. Celis is concerned. For violation of paragraph C of section 11 of the rules.
Nakalagay doon, 10 days na 10 days. 10 days na nakalagay. 10 days na.
The Honorable Akop, would you like to make a motion?
May I move that Mr. Celis be detained for being cited in contempt for violation of section 11, paragraph C, refusal to answer any relevant inquiry by the members of this committee for a period of 30 days.
Mr. Chairman?
Hmm?
Hindi ko pa sila.
He will go on break on December 30 unless he files a motion for reconsideration. We have done this in the different committees already.
Mr. Chair,
There's a motion. The Honorable Pimentel.
the reason why we cited Mr. Celis for contempt is because he does not want to answer the question. That is precisely why he violated paragraph C. So why will we give him a timeline? Eh kung kahit hindi pala siya sumagot, papalabasin natin si Mr. Celis. The reason why we cited him for contempt, eh gusto nga natin nasagutin niya yung relevant inquiry natin, nasagutin niya kung sino yung source niya. So I believe that we should not give a timeline, Mr. Chair.
After
Mr. Chairman,
citing
Mr. Chairman.
the jurisprudence, Mr. Chair, I submit to the wisdom of this committee.
Mr. Chairman.
Seek your advice.
Just an advice, Mr. Chair.
Okay, fantastic. I just came across some posts of SMNI partnering with the Chinese government network. Is this correct?
I have no personal knowledge of that, Mr. Chair.
But you're the lawyer of SMNI.
I only know something that is relevant to the investigation, Mr. Chair. I didn't know about that, Mr. Chair.
No, but it's all over the SMNI Facebook, SMNI Twitter, and news report that you have partnered with the Chinese government national TV. So
I'll try my best, Mr. Chair, to answer only answers that I know personally, Mr. Chair.
and you have no knowledge of that.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So how do you serve as counsel when something such as big between two networks cooperating and you have no knowledge of it whatsoever? I don't understand how that relationship works. Kasi kung
Because I'm not
kung
the only
ano
lawyer,
yung
Mr.
sabihin
Chair.
na may kinalaman sa dalawang korporasyon, at ikaw ang abogado, hihingi ka ng legal advice, legal opinion, due diligence, bago pumasok sa anumang kasunduan. Inamin mo kanina na ikaw ang legal counsel for the past
Yes.
3 years.
But I am not the
At
only legal
Dito
counsel, Mr. Chair.
lumabas kayo na mismo ang naglabas ha, hindi lumabas ng iba, na merong kasunduan ang inyong dalawang network. So gusto ko pong malaman kung ano pong ang kasunduang ito.
The best person to answer that, Mr. Chair, is the president of SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we will take note of that statement and we will call for another hearing this week. Since maganang naman yung ano niya, I hope he's well by then.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So everything that you do not answer, we will bring up in the next hearing. Let us be clear, ha? And more questions. So I suggest, kung alam niyo naman po, para matapos na po yung issue. Okay.
Based on my information, Mr. Chair, the agreement with the Chinese company is not SMNI or the Suara Sub, but it's SMNI Foundation. That's a different company, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So insofar as it's SMNI and alam niyo pwede na lang pong Attorney Tolentino, pwede niyo na lang pong pagsalitain yung bumubulong sa inyo. Pwede po namin i-recognize para mas madali.
I'm the one authorized to talk in behalf of SMNI, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So again,
So the agreement with Chinese company, based on my information, Mr. Chair, is not yet concluded, Mr. Chair. It's still in the process of negotiation.
so is there any documents that would legitimize your statement?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will submit that next session, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So please submit it to us. So what you're saying is number one, it's not SMNI Suarasug,
Yes, but SMNI Foundation, Mr. Chair.
but in the news articles that I've read, there was a statement that there will be shared information and production and other shows. So ano pong lalabas doon?
That's why, Mr. Chair, we will submit all available documents, Mr. Chair, if any, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.